Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to have you here. My name is Miss Antoine. It's now 7:36. I will call this meeting to order. And thank you for being here. Once again, as I said, my name is Miss Antoine, the chair for Parks and Beautification. And today is our second meeting. I don't know if you all have the chance to read the minute of the last meeting, which was in September the 6th. Before moving forward, I will need someone to um, give a motion. I think that's the way to say it, to accept the minutes of the last meeting of the September 6th meeting. Can I get someone to approve the minutes of September 6th meeting?
Linda Turner here. I move that these meetings be accepted.
Thank you. Can I have someone to second?
If we have a quorum, we can do it. Oh, or do we have quorum?
Jackie Williams, I second the motion.
Thank you, Miss Jackie. So if you go over the agenda for today, if you have it with you, you can see what we'll be discussing today. So first I will give you my report, and then I will go over the committee report, the subcommittee report, whoever want to present what they did before. I would be happy to hear from you. So from the last meeting, we spoke about the tree lighting ceremony. We voted on the date, and we had a subcommittee, people who share what they can do. And from that, from September 6th until now, I work with the office with Miss Carol and Miss Fraser, and a nice flyer was putting together by Miss Carol. Thank you.
I'm getting ready to send it now.
Yes, she will send the flyer to all of you. It's a good thing for us now to start sharing the save the date type of thing with our community, because if we will be putting of all this work together, the goal is really for our community to enjoy what we will be doing. And if we need more volunteers, then that will come also because they will know what we are doing. If you remember at all of the meetings with the community board, basically, there is a push to let the community know what we are doing. So events and meetings, those things are things that we should publish for the community to know what we are doing. We don't want to have all of those things and not having the community to participate. I know that before I heard good things, meaning that the community participated, but we still need to continue to do that, participation. So please look at the flyer, share the flyer, and then put that on your calendar so you know what will be coming. In addition to that, I also work with Miss Carol and Miss Fraser to put a request for toys, with Toys for Tots. I heard before that they provided toys for this event. So this year again, Miss Carol submitted this application, and we hope that we'll have toys again. The chair also reached out to other agencies. Among them, I reached out to Macy's to see if we can get some toys. I didn't hear any answer yet, but I will keep, reaching out to other people so we can have more toys. In addition to that, we also have the letters for the elected officials and the businesses. I sent my my draft to the office. That letter will be sent out to community members, churches, elected officials, so we can request their donation and participation. I know that for donations, sometimes they can give in-kind donations, but whatever they can give, they can direct that to the office and follow up. And then as a committee members and subcommittee members, we will kind of sit and strategize and see, how we can use whatever they provide to us. So the go-to person will be Miss Fraser, where they will send everything. And then we as a committee members, we will be in touch to see what is there and how we can use everything that they will provide to us. There will be a lot of follow-ups, so I will need you guys, I will need my community members to kind of share the task so we can divide, who we will follow up. How are we going to follow up? Because if there is a lot of churches, sometimes you will send out letters to people, but if there is no follow-ups, they will forget. So I think we can sit and divide the task with phone numbers and contact information so we know if we have to make some phone calls after the letter to reach out to the people to follow up. I will give you the floor to let me know if you have other ideas in terms of outreach, but I think usually you will send 10 letters to people and then 5 of them will reply back to you. I will finish my report and then after that I will need some feedback from you, especially in terms of donation and outreach. What did we do? Beside that, I think it was a lot of outreach that we started doing, and also I invited other people to come to the meeting. I sent 2 applications to community members who wanted to be part of this committee, so they know what we will be doing. So if you have people in your community, your friends, anybody that lives or work in the community in CV17, you would like them to be part of this meeting, please let us know so we can send them out an application so that they can have any updated information and come to this meeting and be part of it. I will leave the floor for any question on my report. If there is any questions or comment from me, then I will give the floor to anybody from the subcommittee who would like to tell me or would like to tell the group what they did before this meeting, before September 6th and now. Anybody with questions for me, I am open now to answer questions regarding anything that I said, the outreach or the letter or the flyer that Ms. Carol will send to you. Any questions for me?
Yeah, Linda Turner here. Is the flyer in the mail or is it being emailed to us, uploaded? How are we getting the flyer?
I just emailed it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you able to access your email, Ms. Dana? Or if you want me, I can mail it to you. If you are able to, if you can access your email, let me know.
No. She said
Okay.
she just mailed it to me, emailed it, and here it is.
Okay.
Okay, here it is.
All right. You see how beautiful is the flyer, right? She did a great job.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yes.
It's very nice. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comment, Ms. Dana, before I move it to someone else?
Yes, Miss Antoine, the
Yes.
letters for the church, well, the churches, I don't have their emails. But for the elected officials, I have their emails and I'll be sending out those on October 14th.
Thank you
That'll
so
give
much.
them a 2-month notice.
Okay. So October 14 will be for the
I'll
elected
send out the
officials.
letters and then Ms. Frazier can make copies for them to give to the members, to hand out to the businesses.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I also have a list of addresses for the churches that I made copy when I went to the office. I think I can work with Miss Fraser and some committee members. Maybe we can do some mailings because I have a couple of addresses, that I have for the churches, like addresses and phone numbers. Yeah. So I think that's a good thing. We can have a project where people can come to the office and then we can, you know, put letter together and send that to the churches and follow up with the phone calls.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Miss Adele raised her hand. Yes, Miss Bennett.
I did. I was looking at the flyer, but in case of inclement weather, do we have alternate dates?
No, there are no alternate dates.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that someone mentioned that last time, and I think if I correct me if I'm wrong, we said that there is no alternate dates, but someone said that we had an issue where they used the school to move the event to. I don't know if someone want to comment about that. I don't know which school, but someone said at some point they had an issue with raining, and then not even alternate date, but rain issue, and they moved to another church.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
Linda Turner here again. Time I remember we did an alternate thing was our first party, I think, which was 2015, and we were supposed to have it in the park, but because it snowed, we had it in the office. That wouldn't work now because, the office is kind of in turmoil. But that's the only time I remember us changing things around. We were supposed to do everything in Patagat Park, but it snowed, so we moved
Inside, yeah, I remember that.
everything of this thing to the office.
Okay, thank you for telling me that. But I know for now we don't have a an alternate date or alternate place. But that's a good thing to keep in mind. If something happens, what we'll do. But for now, there is no plan for that. That's all I can
Well, we should consider it just in case to
just
move it inside. This way they can clean up the place because I remember they had an area next to the office. We used that one time also. Do you remember, Linda?
Yeah, but
That was
they
when Monique
moved.
had the East Flatbush Village there.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
but they
Only there.
moved.
Yeah.
So, see,
Well,
that
it's a-
office, I had mentioned that before, but that office had closed, and they're now over here on Utica and Tilden.
yeah.
Jackie Williams here. I know you said we don't have an alternate date, but I'm just I think that we should think in terms of an alternate date or alternate location because you don't know how the weather will be, and to put all of these efforts and all of these plans into place and then nothing happens with it. I think we should consider alternate date, alternate
yes.
location.
The park does not offer alternate dates for anything anymore.
Not the
Okay, well,
park.
let me just ask this. What about because I vaguely I remember something was mentioned about contacting the school there on Farragut.
The one across from
When
the park.
huh?
The one across from
Yeah.
the park. I forgot
Yeah,
the number of it.
yes, because I think Sophia had when we were discussing. I just feel that we should think in terms of an alternate plan because we are planning to have it. We get all of the things together. Then what happens?
But the
Snows.
thing with the
Yeah. So
school is,
mhm.
excuse me, the thing with the school is they may want to charge us to have
Yeah,
someone
they
there to
wanted to
open
charge
the
so
school. Right.
was $300.
No, no
And the
way.
board does not have that kind of money. We don't have funds, period. That's why we're soliciting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That I can I'm very well I'm aware of, and that would be a
Really.
drawback. But I don't know. We requested it once, okay? So how do we know it still prevails? I don't know. That's just my thinking, and I'm thinking above and beyond. But that's just a thought.
Anybody
Mm-hmm.
else who
So
have any idea for place as we
yes,
because oh sorry, I think Miss Adele is speaking. Miss Bennett?
yes. I was gonna say maybe we can get a price, get everything not set up, not signed off on. Just get a price, and maybe Rudy can help out. I believe he was in that school for a while.
No, Rudy didn't work in that school across from the park.
He didn't, but well, maybe he knows the principal.
He may know, yeah, he may know who's there.
Yeah, maybe he can ask him, see if we can find out.
So let me see if I get it correctly. The group thinks that I should reach out to the school across the park and see if we can, at least know what the issue is, like in terms of price,
Yes.
or if they are willing to offer just in case we need, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And Rudy would be a good person for that.
Okay.
Rudy Daly.
Jackie Williams, I'm very much in favor of pursuing it. We
Okay.
never know until we try.
Okay.
That's right. That's what it is.
Is there anybody that is against this idea of reaching out to the school and request, what is the situation in case we need to use it? Anybody opposed to that? Okay. Anybody have any other option beside this school that you want to offer to the group? Any other idea beside this school? Just in case we can't find the school. Anybody with any other idea? Places
They,
we can use.
they have to
No.
be placed off.
Okay.
They have to be simple.
I know two people are talking, but I can hear. I know Miss Bennett and his phone number ending with 18.
That's Miss
Um,
Turner.
Miss Turner, yes.
Yes. I'm sorry, I missed part of that. What about me?
Yeah, I heard that you were speaking, but I couldn't hear. Do you have any idea in terms of other places that we can reach out just as a plan B in case we can get the school as a backup?
No, unfortunately. No, I
Okay.
don't. Nothing
All
is,
right. So,
I'm not aware of anything in that vicinity. Unless, Carol, has anybody taken over the old East Flatbush Village office?
I don't know, but the last time I was over at the office, there was a for rent sign on it.
Oh,
So maybe it's available.
No,
Ask Monique.
okay.
anybody else? Mr. Ted wanted to say something. You have the floor.
yes, no, I just wanted to verify the old East Flatbush Village office is still for rent. I live around the corner from there. I
Okay.
walk by there every day and no one has taken it over yet.
Okay.
Well, one side was taken over by medical, one of those, what you call it, medical offices. But the other part, the part that was closer to the CB17 office, is still for rent.
Okay.
So does that mean that we can reach out to see if we need this place, if we can get it? Is that what you are referring to?
No, I don't. What I'm saying,
Doubt
I
the
don't think it's
landlord.
available.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't
Okay,
think
got
the
it.
landlord is
it
gonna
would not be
open
available
it for
because
one day.
no, because I'm sure they won't because it's a lot of liability in there. You
Right.
know, like if you open it for that. So I don't think it's available. But the other places, I know the school across the street was mentioned, but what about, I don't know, what tropical reflections, you know, one of those places is a tropical reflection, Catering Hall and Glenwood and East 45th. That's the closest thing to the office that I don't know if it's something that they would be willing to, if someone want to contact them and see if they would be willing to help out with this, you know.
Yeah, because as someone mentioned before, if it's something that we have to pay like $300, it's not even worth it. If they want to donate the place, that we can work with something as a plan B. But $300, I will vote a no for that one.
Mm.
If it's this, this expensive.
Yeah.
Um, any other idea before I move to the second item on the agenda? Any other idea for places or any questions for me from the report? One thing I didn't add from my report as well, at the executive board meeting, I had requested some funding because I think that at the subcommittee level, uh, I received the advice, whereas we could start buying gifts early and start wrapping them as we are getting the gift. So I requested some funding, and I also requested the info for the vendor that we can buy from. I think it's the same vendors that were used that they used before at the community board level. We will reach out to the same vendors. If anybody had any objection with that, I would love to hear from you. And I can go to the office and pick up, whatever list existed, and we can meet and make a choice on what we want to buy. But I don't know if you have any objection regarding the vendors that CB17 used before for that event. So I just wanted to put that on the floor as well.
Carol, are we still using Oriental Trading
So if
Company?
you know anybody that we bought things before that that you have any objection on that. Two people
Um,
raise their hand. I think Miss Williams No, Miss Turner and Mr. Tate. Mr. Tate, you can go first, and then Miss Williams can go second.
Yes, okay, yeah, just a question, because you mentioned that you requested funding from the board office. Were, did they offer you any funding for these things?
Yes,
There is no
yes, it
funding
was
in the
voted.
board office.
Not in the board office. I think there is a funding
We
from
can
Miss Carol. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Funding can be
Yeah,
requested from the elected officials.
Officials, right. Mhm. That's where I was
no,
getting to,
it's,
Carol, yeah,
no,
because
it's a
Okay.
discretionary.
mhm.
Actually,
Yeah,
it's a
because I
discretionary
was
fund.
kind of surprised to hear that there
No,
was
it's not.
funding. Hmm.
No, it's not from the office. It's a discretionary fund.
See, we wouldn't be able to get that in time
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
because they
Mm,
I
hadn't
don't have the
discussed
actual,
it yet.
yeah,
yeah,
'cause
I don't have the actual details, but it's a discretionary fund, I guess, that
The
they said
elected
people,
officials.
no, I don't know. Yeah, that's they said that people can request, so I put my request. So basically that's
Okay.
what it is. However, as they said it, we need to sit and start, having our list and selection. When money comes, we know what to do, right? That's my understanding. We don't want to wait until the last minute so we have actually the money on hand and then start, having a list and then rushing. It's already October. I don't know what if members will agree with me. We actually need to start working on that and keep pushing for our donation and money and things like that so we can know what to do. Uh,
my
this
suggestion would be to reach out to the elected officials and request them, funding or things from them, like if you really want the toys or, but I would suggest requesting funding from them as soon as possible, and also
Yeah.
from the different businesses in the area.
Yeah, Miss Carol just mentioned that a letter. I mean, I work with Miss Carol on a letter. We review it, and she just said that the letter to the elected officials will go out on October 14th. So, what Miss Carol, October 14th will be the day where she will send out this letter to the elected officials to request their assistance. And then for the churches and businesses, I think we don't have all the emails. So the churches basically will have to mail and use other things to reach out to them. Correct me, Miss Carol, October 14th is the cutoff date where you will send the letter to the elected officials, right?
Right. That's going to go to the elected officials. And Miss Frazier can print out the one for them, for y'all to hand deliver to the businesses and mail to the churches.
Yeah. So by then, as we are mailing or emailing the document to churches or emailing to the elected officials, we as community members, we need to already have a list of, vendors that we want to reach out, what we want, all those things. So when we have this donation, we can start buying things. And some community members said it, we can even start to wrap things and put them in a bag so we don't rush at the last minute to do everything. I don't know if someone has, if you want to comment on that, on, buying things ahead of time, or if there is any objection on that, because I think that was mentioned before as, a good thing to do, so we don't wait until the last minute.
Jackie Williams here.
Mhm.
Uh, the letters are going to go out on the 14th of October. Do you have are you thinking in time of a date, a time frame that you would do a follow up to see
1 month.
in 1 month you will do that? Okay. Okay, good.
And then I think we should also talk as a committee to see the idea of coming to the office and have, paper letter printed to mail out to churches and other people that we don't have email address for. Is it something that people would like to work with me on that? We can set up a date and we go actually to the office and we put letters on in envelope and we mail that to them and we set up dates as well to follow up. Is it something that, people think that is good for us to do? If yes, who would love to be on this team to volunteer and assist me in doing those things? Because it will be kind of a lot of, tasks, put letter on the envelope and put stamps or, whatever you want, whatever you think is okay to do or hand deliver, whatever you think is okay to do. I think we should discuss that today. what is your idea on in terms of, you know, outreach to the churches in terms of giving them this letter? Do you think that we should actually go to the churches or mail the letter to them if we don't have any email address? What do you think is appropriate, or what can we do? Anybody with ideas? I will, take ideas.
Well, I do have a question regarding, I'm sorry, just want to be clear, the letters to the church, because I apologize, I had problem with the audio, and that's why you see me weird put it in this thing on, because I couldn't hear anything at the beginning. But my question regarding the church, the letters to the church is regarding what asking them for what kind of assistance are you requesting from the church?
The letter for the church is basically to ask them for their contribution. I will be the same as asking the elected officials for contribution. It will be asking them for in kinds or money contribution, whatever they like to donate for this event. Also to ask them to participate. But I think as for now, the big thing that we need to make sure that we have is donation for us to purchase what we need to purchase. I don't know
Okay.
if you want to add something, Miss Carol, but that's the
Yeah.
basically that's the content of the letter.
Yeah. My second question is regarding the mailing out, because you mentioned about not to sound negative, but I do have a question regarding the stamps to go out for the letters to go out, because I know in the past it's always been a question about mailing things out to not only to the board members, much more to the public in general. So I was just wondering, and maybe Carol could chime in on this. Is there stamps in the office, or is there some funding for mailers that came about that I don't know about?
Well, the last time, about a year and a half ago, there is postage in the office.
Mhm. Okay, because here
And I
before we
know
do,
we don't use much of it because everything now is mostly emailed to the members.
yeah.
So a lot of it is not used. So it's most likely it is postage there.
Mhm. Okay, I would suggest Miss Antoine, if you speak to Miss Fraser before assuming that that you could use a stamp, because I know there's been some issues in the past regarding mailing out. Okay, so
Okay, thank you. Because I was thinking
yes,
about any
I,
ideas, because we need to reach out to the people. If there is no
yes,
email,
no,
we either can bring that to them physically or find a way. So
yes,
I like what you said. So I put a note for that. So your idea is
yeah,
to reach out to Miss Fraser to make sure that there is possibility to use the postage in the office for the mailing. Correct?
yes, and also I think the flyers could be hand delivered by each one of us. Take it to our own our churches, and do it that way. So it's better more than less. So if we could just take the flyers and take it to the our home churches, or any church in the community that we're walking by, we could just drop it by.
Okay. So with this idea, Mr. Tate, do you think that we should have a flyer printed and at the office, so when
Yes,
members stop by, they can pick up flyers to deliver? Is that the idea?
yes,
Okay.
definitely yes.
Great. Okay.
Agree.
Okay.
Oh, Linda Turner here. One other thing about mailing out the letters. If postage is a problem, my son will be able to mail them out for us at work. If, going through the office is an issue or they don't have the postage or whatever, I just need to get them, and I can have him take them to work, stamp them, and mail them out, and it won't be a problem.
Thank you so much. That will be a good, great help. So if there is no objection in terms of the flyer, I don't know if you got a chance to look at the flyer itself. By tomorrow, I can send an email to Miss Fraser and start talking about idea of printing and those things. So if you accept the flyer as is, so I think we can move on with what we have now and start, working on it. Anybody with any objection on the flyer, you can say it now. If not, tomorrow I will start working with the office and see, and share your ideas to Miss Fraser and Miss Carol in an email so we can know if we need to start printing, when we are starting to print, and those things. Any idea, any objection on the flyer, please let me know.
No.
Okay. Anything? Okay, great.
Miss,
So,
Jackie Williams, Miss Antoine.
yes, Miss Jackie.
I remember at the meeting that you, Miss Turner, and I had, I guess it was a week after our last meeting, we mentioned something about in-kind contribution from the churches. We had said we wanted to have Carolyn, and I think we discussed probably we could contact the churches about probably the youth group could provide the Carolyn or what have you. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do. Quick question though. The letter that I have is a general letter for all churches. For
Mhm.
this specific request, I think we can put a second letter for the specific request for this the Caroline. Do you think that it's something that we should do? Because I think that we can put a specific letter together just for that.
It could be, yeah, but I
Mhm.
think that would be a good idea if we wanted to do Carolyn to get
Oh,
the churches in the youth group
okay.
church, yeah.
And I think someone mentioned that I can reach out to Assemblywoman Maureen Waters Shenderman at this subcommittee meeting, correct?
Oh
For a
yes, we
youth
did
group.
mention that. Yes, yes.
So
Yeah, we did mention that.
yeah. So I will work with Miss Carol so we can put together a letter for the specific request.
Very good. Thanks.
Yes. So any other ideas? Oh, quick question. I think Miss Turner mentioned offer assistance for mailing using a son. Is there anybody has any objection with that? Because she offered that, and I think that is a good idea. But I didn't ask the group what you think about this idea. Is it something that you agree to do, or that she can do, or do you have any objection?
I'm sorry,
No,
could you
no
repeat that
objection.
again? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Berla. Could you repeat that?
Listen.
Good evening,
Yeah.
everyone. Sorry I was late, but could you repeat
Good
that?
evening. Yeah, Miss Turner just brought to the floor the idea that she can request a son to assist in the mailing, uh, which I think is a good idea because we were thinking about how to reach out to the churches, and she said that she offered that she will reach out to a son for assistance. So I want to bring that back to the group to ask you if you have any objection with that offer. If
No,
not, we can move the offer forward.
no objection.
Linda.
That's a great suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay, because what it is he's the mailroom manager. Okay, so all we have to do is get the letters together, put them in a bag, and he can just take them to work, and they'll be mailed out the next day.
Wow. Awesome.
This is Jackie Williams. I don't have an objection to that, but I think that can sort of sometimes create a problem too. Because he has to. I don't have an objection, but it's something that I think we need to think about.
Okay, so you think that there will be an issue with um, the Miss Turner's son taking the mail to the post office?
To from the postage is being covered by his department or his job or whatever. I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Yes,
I'm throwing
yeah.
that there. Could it be a conflict that might would there be a problem later? That's the only thing. I know that could be a problem. I feel it could be.
Yeah, but no, it won't be. We've
Right,
done it before.
right.
Okay.
Okay, so what I can do, I can run that by the office as well to make sure that, as Ms. Jackie mentioned, there is no conflict. So we know that we're doing the right thing, and then I can get back to Ms. Turner. Is that something that you think is feasible? Can I do it this way? What do you all think?
It's a good idea, the
Okay,
way
so
you're
I will run
doing
that by
it.
you. Okay, thank you. So in terms of mailing now, let's talk about the follow-up. Mailing is one, follow-up with the phone calls is something. The same way like Mr. Ted mentioned, how are we going to follow up with elected officials? Now, how are we going to follow up with the churches? Miss Carol mentioned in 1 month for elected officials. What is your idea about following up with the churches now after we spend all this time mailing documents? What do you all think?
Well, perhaps we could, give each person X amount to personally contact the churches, um, and get a feedback from them directly. But I think perhaps you could distribute some the churches to each person, and then would be responsible for, um, getting in touch with X amount of churches.
Okay, meaning that I can have a list and I divide the list among us, and
Yeah.
each person will have a group of people to call or to reach out to follow up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that any idea that people would like to do? Do you think that Miss Collins' idea is a good idea that we can move forward with?
I think it's a good idea.
Anybody
Yeah.
Want to add anything? Yeah. Okay. So we have that. Um, But now, if there is no question from me for my report, I will ask anybody if they had done anything after September 6th until now. I will start with, I think, I don't have the name in front of me. Someone was supposed to contact Mr. Center, Mr. George, to see if he's willing to do Center again this year. I don't know if it's Miss Turner, Miss Williams, who was supposed to contact Mr. George to be the center.
I think Miss Turner was going to follow up on that, right, Linda?
Yeah, I was. I didn't, but I can. He's 2 doors down. It won't be a problem.
Okay.
I can reach out to him tomorrow.
Okay, so I put a note that Ms. Turner will reach out to Mr. George to know whether or not if he can do the center again this year.
No
And I think
problem.
that you said that you already have the uniform, so we don't have to do any expenses for that. Just to
Yeah,
make sure.
actually, he has 2, so he's good.
Okay. Um, Thank you. So now I want to move to this idea for contacting the fire department, because I think that someone mentioned that was done before, but we had issue before as well. Do you think that I can still contact the fire department to bring Mr. Santa to the place for that event?
Mm.
Yeah.
Because I think someone said that, but said before that we had an issue. I would say that the plan B will be Mr. Santa can come on his own, but it would be nice to have, the fire department and have it, more glamorous kind of things. So do you think that do you give me an okay to contact the fire department, or do you have any objection?
No, okay.
Anybody object to that?
Thumbs up on that one.
Yeah. Any objection on that? Okay, nothing
Thumbs up.
heard. Okay, so we can move. Any other task that people promised to do or anything that people did before September 6th until now that they want to mention before we move to the next item on the agenda? Is there anything that you think you are thinking about that we didn't discuss, at the meeting that is related to what was just said that you want to bring now to this meeting before we close this item, the discussion on this item on the agenda? Anything? All right. So when I started the meeting, I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to introduce themselves shortly, but I started without doing that. As we are moving to new business on the agenda, before moving to the new business, I would like you to introduce yourself so we can have record of who is here. Please give your name shortly, your first and last name. And if you want to say that you are representing an organization, please do so. We'll do that shortly. So I will call your name and then you can introduce yourself shortly. I have Adele Bennett. Williams, can you hear me? I think it's not there.
Can you hear?
I have, yes, I can hear you, Miss Bennett. Yeah,
Okay, so as I said, they'll be a committee member.
thank you. On the screen, I have Audrey Henderson.
Good evening. I'm Audrey Henderson, committee member.
Nice to meet you. I have Alexandra. I can't read the last name, but I have Alexandra, and the last name starts with the S on my screen.
Hi, that's me, Alexandra Schmidbauer. I'm on this committee as an individual, but I also represent Flatbush Community Association, our neighbor group.
Thank you. I have a phone number ending with 18. Look at Miss Williams. I think it's Miss Jackie Williams. Right, Miss Williams?
No, that's Miss Turner.
Miss Turner?
Yes.
Yes. Miss Turner, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah,
shortly?
Linda Turner, board member and, committee member and neighborhood resident.
Thank you, Miss Turner. Nice to see you here. I have Miss Colin.
Good evening, everyone. Carlene Gordon, a committee member and a member of the Community Concern Network with Byways and Hedges.
Thank you. Nice to have you, Miss Gordon. And I have Brady, B-R-I-E. The last name starts with a D.
I got it. Yep. This is Bree DaCosta. I am a committee member and I'm obviously a member of the community as well.
Nice to have you, Mr. Tate. I see you.
Yes. Good evening, all. This is George Tate. I'm a board member and committee member.
Thank you. I have Frederick Watson. Can you introduce yourself quickly? Watson, Frederick Watson. I can come back to you. Did I miss someone? Jenny Williams.
Jackie Williams. Jackie
Hi.
Williams.
Good
Hi,
evening. I'm Janique Williams from East 32nd Tilden Block Association. I'm the president. Also, I've lived in the area for 39 years now, so I'm excited to be new to this subcommittee, and I'm also part of the Block Association Committee and also District Leader Committee, just a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm involved in the community because it's important to be involved to make change.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you all
Well
tonight.
said. Well said. I think we have two Williams on this meeting.
Okay.
Miss Jackie Williams.
I'm good evening, everyone. Jackie Williams. I'm a committee member.
Thank you. I also have Ricky DaCosta.
Yes, how are you? Husband of Bree DaCosta, who's on the call as well. Community member and board member as well in East Flatbush.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Right. So now it's a good time to move on the new project. So we spend a lot of time having, we talk about our first project, which is my lovely tree lighting ceremony, which I love. But remember, we also have a lot of things to work on. So now we have this on the ground. I think it's running now. We kind of have an idea. Oh, someone raised their hand. Yes, Watson, Frederick Watson, you want to say something before I move forward?
Yes, I will try to let you know that I'm a member of park committee.
Yes, I asked you, but I didn't hear. Thank you so much. So, yeah, Frederick Watson, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, nice to have you on board.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Like I said, now we have an idea of what we want to do with the tree lighting ceremony. We have people on board. We start sending letters. We have our beautiful flyer, and I can tell you, if you don't have the flyer yet, open your email, check your email, and see the flyer that you can start sharing actually with the people, because sometimes you share the flyer and people will have that on their calendar. Now we want to move to a new item on the agenda, which is the new business, which is to vote on other projects. at the last meeting, people mentioned, I think Miss Williams or some other people spoke about trees planting in the park. That was, maintenance was an issue. And they lost everything. Someone said, you don't even know that trees were planted there because there is no record of them because of maintenance. But we have two projects that I would like to bring to the floor. Either we take both of them or one of them for now. This is the tree pruning. I just can't pronounce this word well, and the sign for curb your dog sign. So those are two things, small project, very important project that we can work on. I have the first hand raised. This is Mr. Ted that raised his hand. Do you want to add something before I move forward?
Yes, I want to add something, and then I want to have the opportunity to discuss something regarding the planting that we did this year. But one thing I would like to see if we could bring back is like we used to have a spring concert in the park. Yeah, and we would have participation from the different churches with the choirs and dancers and so forth. And then they would have, give it hot chocolate and things like that. So normally it's a spring concert. We haven't had it in a couple of years now. So I was wondering if something like we could bring back.
I love events. If I have people who do events for me, I will do events. So it's just
Mhm,
like for me I'm an event organizer. Miss Collins know that I'm an event organizer by training. I love
mhm,
events. The only thing is, you know, if the subcommittee members vote on that, and if I have two or three people to work with me on that, we get it. That's all
mhm.
we want. It's like committee members who are willing to like reach out to the people, the choir, and we have a flyer, and then we do it. Quick question, Mr. Ted, as you're mentioning that. I want to have a record um, on the date that this event was done in the previous year, as you mentioned. Do you remember the date around that what time?
It was normally it was like early June, if I remember correctly. Yes, I could check and see, but Carol, is that right? Was it normally around June, right?
Either before Memorial Day or
Mm-hmm.
after.
Mm-hmm. Right, but right around that time, yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am on board for that. The only thing I know, Mr. Ted, you will be part of this subcommittee. I know that. The only thing I need two or three people, and first of all, I need the group to vote on that, that they agree that the Park and Beautification Committee can work on that project. That's one. And then secondly, that we have a subcommittee for that, and then we can work, in small committee to put things together, reach out to the choir, and I can go to the office and see who was there before, things like that. So, because it's a new business, we can even vote on it now if the group decide to, and then we can calendar that for another time to kind of discuss that further. So, do you all agree that this is something that we can work on? If yes, we can calendar that for another meeting, and then we can go over it deeper. Mr. Ted, idea, do you think that, yes, Miss Jackie Williams? Yes. Miss Jackie?
I'm in favor of the spring concert. That's all. My that's what my hand is up.
Thank you. Anybody?
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is.
Hmm.
Okay. Anybody object to this idea? And I also love it, so I'm in favor as well. You know,
Exactly.
your chairperson love events. So,
That's
any
right.
objection on that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Miss Carol, do you have any objection on the flyer because you will be assisting me with the flyer?
Do I? No, it's your decision.
Okay, great. So, all right, great idea. Okay, so I will follow up with that on the next agenda. I will have some information to share with you as one of our events. But remember, just in parentheses, we have a big event coming in June, which is a fair, a healthy eating fair. This will not interfere, but I just wanted to I just want you to be aware that we also have some other big event coming in June. Thank you, Mr. Ted. I see that your hand is still up. Do you want to add something or?
Yes, yes, but before I even add to that, I just you just mentioned we have a big event coming in June. As you recall, I was away due to a funeral, so I missed the last meeting, the subcommittee meeting. So could you just refresh me as to what the event in June?
Oh, okay. So at the board meeting and retreat, I suggested two big events. One was the tree lighting ceremony that
Yeah.
already existed. It's not like I suggested that. I, agreed to do it. The second is a fair that we will do in the park where we'll have the vendors coming. It's a farmers market. It's a fair
Okay.
farmers market, but with that, I suggested that we have a healthy eating portion of it because it's not like I don't like the idea of selling foods or giving things just like that. The idea is like to teach people in our community how we can eat healthy. So the idea is to bring people who have knowledge in food. We can talk to the community about food portion, about how to cook their food. And the idea is to reach out to schools because someone suggested that there is, we have schools in our community who also start talking to the kids about, the idea of healthy. So that's the idea that I'm still working on, but it's early. So that's why I wanted to finish with those other events before I start talking to you about
Okay.
this second event. But that will also be a big event, not to sell the foods, but to tell people why are they eating carrots, why this portion is good. If you have diabetes, why you should, things like that to educate people on the food in our community, which is something that I think we have food in our community, but the education portion is not there. So that's why I really, love this event. But it's not now. It's something further down that we will discuss because I think we have a lot of things that we have to do before we go to this big event.
Okay.
Any question? Because we are
Jackie
moving to.
Williams, I think that's a very good idea because we want to really improve the health of our community residents. And one of the things is that I always say, a motto of mine is that we tend to dig our graves with our teeth because we don't know how to eat and how to prepare the food. You can buy the food, but if you don't handle it properly, it's a waste of time and money. You overcook it or you don't store it properly. So I think that's excellent. And talking about this, reaching out to people, the WIC program would be an excellent uh, resource, a agency to contact as far as providing nutrition education, nutrition information, and also the health department.
Yes. I also reached out to Kings County Hospital because they have a diabetes education component. I have to follow up on that because I would love, people like that as well to be on board. So I have the REAP program that you just mentioned, the health department, and I already contacted someone at Kings County, but not the big people, but someone that I am familiar with to ask for direction. But I will move forward with this idea. I have Alexandra hand raised. You can go ahead. Alexandra from Flatbush.
I
Yeah.
think Mr. Tate might have had his hand raised first. I'm not sure. Sorry, I don't want to cut in line.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to bring it down because at the end I
Oh,
want to say something, but let me. I'll wait. So go ahead, ma'am. Let me lower it.
All right.
another good resource for health education. Oh my gosh, now I'm blanking on the name. Um,
Oh, you can go
there's a
back.
school program which is focused on gardening and like the vegetables that you can grow locally. And they come out to schools and they do cooking demonstrations and nutrition demonstrations. I can't believe I'm blanking. I had a friend that interned for them. Edible Schoolyard. Edible Schoolyard is what it's called. But I think they also do community events, not just schools. So that's one that you could check with that is really, really great.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I put a note for that because I think that our community would just go and buy, junk food. Not that I'm against junk food, but I think we need to have options in our community. And if we are bringing people to educate our community, I think it's a great idea. I'm happy that that you share that idea and you like to help. So what I will ask you to do from now until our next meeting in November, if you have any idea, it's still early in the process, but I start having my list. So I have a list of people that I start piling up with my list. If you know about any organization, any school, any church, do you know that will love to be part of this event in terms of presenting, please let me know. You can send me an email or a text message just to tell me to put that on my list of people to contact. As Miss Alexandra just mentioned, like, some group, they do cooking demonstration. That's what I would love to have. Not, people who do, who do some exercise on this at that event. I also would like people who can come and do some, basic things that we can do to keep our body in shape on that particular day. So it's all about health. It's health, nutrition, exercise, and education, all those things. We have a lot of people with diabetes in our community, but sometimes people don't know what to eat. So I think that we can work on that and bring people on board to teach, our community what to do. We have the parks. We just need to bring the people in the park and do events. So this is on you to let me know what you think, what resources you have, and then we can work to move that, forward. So in our next meeting, we will definitely talk about this idea that will be on the agenda, and you will, update me on anybody that you can that we can have. There is no bad idea. All your ideas are welcome. Miss Adet Bennett.
Yes, I was listening to what you were saying about ideas, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but Kings County Hospital gives classes on that nutrition.
Yes, yeah. I reach out to someone for the diabetes portion, but
Hmm.
if you have other, yeah, for the diabetes, but if you have other contact, I would love to have that too. The only thing
Yeah,
I know is for the diabetes. Yeah.
it's not just diabetes and overweight; it's also nutrition. They have a dietitian that will tell people what they should and shouldn't eat, what is recommended. You can get that from Kings County also.
Okay, so I will extend that invitation to uh the more unit than only the diabetes unit. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I see Miss Alexandra has her hand up, and Miss Colin has her hand up. Oh, Miss Colin, you can go now.
Okay, wait, we're back. Um, well, as far as Kings County is concerned, I was on the community advisory board there and still have, a pretty good relationship with a few of the people there. So so I wouldn't mind linking um, those, making contact with Kings County in the different departments. Just let me know exactly which, what our focus is, although I know already. But
Mhm.
and then we'll just get in touch with them. That is, I think I could manage that.
Okay, so what I will do, I will work with the office to put a letter together
Mhm.
so that can explain the goal and what is needed. So when you reach out to anybody, you can show them, what we are trying to achieve. And this event is for May or June-ish, that was the plan when it's not cold kind of thing, because it's an outdoor event. And we have enough time to plan that event because my goal is to have this event well attended for our community.
Yeah,
Have
it's
you-
an excellent idea because I think at this time, we definitely need to focus on good health, and Kings County is about that. They would, I don't know that they'll be happy to partner with you
Yeah.
to take it, in terms of getting the information out to the community and just making us more healthy on a whole.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your idea and for offering to assist. I have Miss
Mhm.
Jackie William hand raised.
Yes, let me get some clarification. This event that you, and I think it's an excellent idea. Are you labeling it a what did you say? A
Healthy eating,
farmer's
healthy.
market? Farmer's market. It sounds more like it's going to be a health fair, which is all inclusive, would include a lot.
Yeah, them that I give for it was healthy eating, healthy cooking. That was my
Okay,
theme.
health. Okay, so it's really nutrition and health related. I'm very much I'm connected with the WIC program at Kings County because I formerly worked there, and they have nutritionists who do excellent education, and they, I'm sure, would be very much interested in participating because that would be a form of outreach for them in attracting participants. So I would definitely be willing to do a contact.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Jacqueline. The theme that I picked was healthy eating, healthy cooking.
That's
Because cooking, yeah, it's like you are what you eat, basically what they said. So it's like we buy things, but a lot of people don't know how to cook them. So it's like
that's true.
that's the idea. Yeah,
And really hard to select them too. That's true.
that's true.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any idea? So this is a project that we know we jump because Mr. Ted wanted us to jump on that thing. We jumped to it, and that was great. So by the next meeting, a lot of those things that we spoke now, we'll start drafting those little things before our next meeting. So I assure you that when we come to the next meeting, I will have a chance to get in touch with, all of you who said that you can contact people so we can talk about that, after that meeting. So we will do that. So we can report back in our November meeting or in our board meeting. I can report on what we are working on. If there is no idea on this, I see that the time is 8:38, so we can move to the next item. But remember that this is not the end for this, item. We will go for any question, any objection, any idea before I move to one of the item of for our new business. Oh, I know. Sorry, Mr. Ted. You said that you wanted to say something after Miss Alexandra. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's regarding the park beautification event that we had. So I don't know if that's what you're going to bring up next regarding the tree planting. So,
Yes.
but if okay, because no, because to be frank, it's something that I saw in the minute that I need to clarify because it wasn't an accurate statement, and
Okay.
it bothered me. So I just wanted to bring up what happened there.
Okay.
So I don't
So
know if this is the right time or you want me to wait till the end or what.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Ted. So the next project that I wanted to bring to the committee was the beautification of our parks and sitting areas. So for that, when we say beautification, the first thing I can see is our parks being clean, our sitting area being clean, and having trees. So those are the things that I was thinking. So now, because I didn't want to overcrowd you with projects, because you will be assisting me with this, I put it. We can choose for now either the tree pruning or the signs, for the dog sign or those things. Although someone just mentioned that, it's almost a no to have, those signs, but I think we can talk about it and see, what can be done. So tree is definitely a project that I think we should start talking on, even if we pause the signs for now, but we have an issue with trees. At the last meeting, someone actually mentioned that they had a project with CB17 community had a project in the past. However, the tree that were planted didn't have good maintenance, and it's like a waste of time. So the reason why I want to bring that to you is because I took a run around, to see our sitting areas and things, and I think that this is needed in our community to have trees. How can we work on that? Although I know that there was a lot of things that didn't work properly, we lost those trees. I know that. But how can we do something that is meaningful? At least we know that we participate in our beautification, in the beautification of our neighborhood. So that's the idea that I have. We can see what we can do if we have to drop this idea entirely, or if there is something at least we can do. Mr. Ted, now you have the floor. I know that you said something in the minutes that you wanted to discuss regarding the tree planting. Now you can go ahead.
Okay.
I see Mr.
Yeah, yeah,
And
thank
Miss
you.
Jackie also raised her hand. I will give you the floor, and then Miss Jackie can go next.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, I definitely agree with the idea about trying to get some trees in the community, because a lot of the blocks around here need trees. We had a project that we were supposed to be working on, but I think it was city trees, or I have the information, but all of a sudden they stopped responded to email, responding to phone calls. So, but I understand it was something to do with the uh, new mayor coming in and so forth. So it's a long story. But what I want to talk about is that the effort that we put in to put the plants on June 7th at Patagat Park, we planted some trees. It was a lot of effort, but it was a little disconcerting to me, disheartening, to see a comment that was put in the that I read in the minute, saying that all the money spent for the plants and the time put into the beautification of the area was for nothing due to breakdown in communication and the limited follow-up. Okay, as a former chair who organized this, and and I really appreciate the help from the committee, but this statement is really not true, because no one knows how much I went through. So no one was more hurt to see that those plants were not watered as they promised us to do. And as much as I followed up, went to the park, called the park department and everything, if from the day that it was the plants, we did the planting and we were supposed to water the plant that day, there was a sewer backup when they tried to hook up the water hose, so the plants were not watered the day they were watered. I went there, that was a Saturday. I went there the Monday, and they promised me they were going to do it. Went there again, think a couple of days later. And when I saw that nothing was done, I called the Parks Department. They told me they were going to take care of that, because they do water the plants on a regular basis. They did not water the plant, but it was not because of lack of effort or lack of follow-up. And I went and I reported to the committee the trouble I was having getting these people to water the plants. And in addition to that, we were unlucky enough to go through a what you call it, a dry period that made it worse for the plants to come up. So I just want to clarify that that statement that was said, that it was lack of follow-up and lack of communication, it was not. It wasn't because of lack of, I could communicate with them, I could call the park managers, and if some of you remember, I even said the problem I had, getting phone calls from the person who was supposed to be representing it, and Miss Turner attested to it that that person had switched jobs, and she was the one, she found out before me that that person had switched job, and maybe that's why she was unavailable to answer my calls. Okay, so it was not lack of my efforts, which really was disheartening to me to see that comment in there, especially coming from people who should have known what was happening. So I just want to say that. But on top of that, yes, if you want to try and do the thing again, I would be more than happy to work with, but we just have to keep in mind that we could twist your arm, we could do whatever we want, but if they decide they are not going to do what they promise us, it's not much that we could do. because I even went there to the park manager in there and I asked him for water. Because even my granddaughter, okay, 'cause that's the park we go to, 5-year-old granddaughter go to ask, say what happened to the plants. And when I said, do I know? She said, can we use water from the sprinkler to do it? So that's how much hurt I was by that, by those plants dying, because no
Thank
one
you, Mr.
knows
Ted.
the effort. So I just wanted to say that just keep that in mind.
So your point is well taken. I am glad that you mentioned that. So if I understand correctly, it's not that the project is not doable. It's just like an issue happened where, the plants were lost, but it's not that the planting project itself is not doable. And
Right.
I am glad that you mentioned that. But I think that you bring up a great concern how you feel about what was stated.
Yeah.
Now I will give the floor to Miss Jackie Williams.
Yeah, but yeah, one more thing. I just want to look at the bright side. The
Yeah.
bright side of
Mhm.
planting those trees was that the they lost it at least 2 weeks when the social services committee had an event in the park. So at least we beautified it enough that when the park the social services had the health fair there, the park looked nice enough. So that I'm glad to see it happen.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you
it.
for your work.
I
Thank
mean,
you for
Okay.
putting that together. And I think this, from what you said, is not like we can't do it. We can still do it. However, issues happen. We can sit and talk and see how we can not prevent, but if something happen, how we can work together to correct, whatever issue. Let's move it to Miss Jackie, who had a hand raised for a long time.
Okay, I just have a comment to make, Miss George. The statement, the in the minutes, certainly, it was not a discredit to you. I really was. My point was that I felt the Parks Department should have been more involved in following up. I'm definitely you were very much involved, and it's something that it wasn't a one person uh, responsibility to do. We all really could have been involved. I guess, but periodically going to check, following up to see what was happening with the plan. But it was not a reflection on your interest and your involvement. So that was definitely misconstrued. And I apologize for any misunderstanding with that because there was a lot of effort put into it.
Thank you, Miss Jackie. And I agree with what you said. So, I mean, it's always good to mention what didn't work, what happened. If
Yeah,
we have to do it again, now we know that we have to push those people because, as you said, Mr. George put a lot of effort and the committee members as well.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
unfortunately, things happen. So if we have to do it again, it's good for me to know what happened so then I can, work harder to kind of
True.
push
Yeah.
these things not to happen, but at least to find a solution if ever things like that happen. I see a couple of people with their hands. I see Mr. Ted hands again, and someone raising have their hand down.
Yes.
Mr. Ted, you can go now.
Yes, Jackie, I really want to thank you for clarifying that, okay? Because,
mhm.
but the thing is that the way it's read in the minutes, someone who was not aware of what was happening could have misinterpreted that to say that, like there was no follow up and there was no part, in, like not only I, but the committee itself did not do anything to ensure that the plans were taken care of, and it was not our fault in
Okay, yeah,
general.
because
Really?
it
I
really
understand.
wasn't.
No need for apology. You clarified your statement, and I just wanted to make sure that no one misread what what was in the minutes right now.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, okay. I'm glad that you raised that point because I don't know that. Well, it was not my point to communicate that, but and
Mhm.
I think it was just misconstrued it, and it was
Yeah.
misstated. I think too. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
You're
thank
welcome.
you. Okay, so now let's move to because this was one of the things that I wanted to ask you if this is a project that you think we can do. So I'm glad that we had this conversation about it. But let's decide now. Is it something that we still want to do? Planting tree, is it something that we want to do again?
Uh, I wasn't involved in the first one, but it does sound like something that is not only doable but useful. And I'm wondering if it would be a great project. I'm wondering, is there any way that we could get the youth involved? Like I don't know if we could select a school or several schools and have some of their, you know, I don't know if we could partner with the schools and getting them um getting the children to help
Yeah, I think
also
that you are reading my
in
mind.
in
That's a great
in
idea.
planting so that they also feel invested in the in the
Great,
environment.
great idea. Fabulous, fabulous,
Uh,
Miss Collins. So
this
school will
this is
definitely be on board. Yes.
this is Bree Costa. We had a few students help us, and children. My children were also there,
Right.
helping us with the planting. So I'm sure it's doable. I don't know what organization the high school students were with, but I think it was they needed community service hours for something school related, and so we did have some young people helping us.
Okay, great. Because I reached out to the Flatbush Development Corporation because I know that they also work with youth for
Mhm.
graffiti removal, and I asked if the school children will get any credit, but I didn't get any answer. But I'm glad that you mentioned that because I didn't know whether or not they will get a credit for that. So
Right,
we have a
right.
big thing to work on. First, what I will ask you to do, if any of you knows any school, we would love to have that in the process. I will be very happy to work with you on that, to reach out to the school and know the process to get them, to have them, being part of this thing.
Good, good.
That's a good thing. Quick question.
Not
For people who did it, someone was talking?
Yes, I just want to
Yes.
follow up what Ms. Da Costa mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there were things were sent out to the different schools. There were a lot of kids there, but there was the 6 Prison Explorers. There was also the kids from Elite Learners that
Right.
came, and also Crystal Ray private, it was at a private school on East 37. They sent some
Mm-hmm.
kids, and yes, I signed for them as a chairperson for them to get the credit, chairperson of the committee, to get credit for their work on that day. So yes, the
Oh,
kids,
great.
it would be good to contact all the schools and let them
Mm-hmm.
know that they could get community work credit for that day.
Okay, thank you so much. A letter, I will put together a letter with Miss Carol, so this can be sent out, not now, but in a couple of weeks we can start sending that because we are thinking about June, right? This planting, I will think about June or May. I think because we have something else in June, if we can push that a little bit up the calendar, that will be perfect. Do you have a date in mind? Someone was talking. Yes. Do you have any idea for dates? So it's two things now. We'll talk about schools that we can reach out to, and I can look, in the record and see what school we had before. Yes. So, but do you have any idea on a date that we can put on the calendar? Because in the upcoming days, I will put together a calendar of our events so you know when will be, what we have in which day. So we don't get, like we have a big event in other, with other committee, and then we have a big event for our parks. So we need to be mindful of that. Um, but we can have a set date now if you want to, or we can revisit that later. When you had that before, I think Mr. Ted said on June 7th. Can we move it a little bit up the calendar before June? Do you think that is feasible, Mr. Ted, from your experience?
I thought June
Ye-
was good, from my personal opinion. This is Brita Costa. Sorry.
Mhm, mhm.
I thought June was good in terms of like the weather. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. It was like a good time for the plants. So, I mean, I don't know how anybody else feels. But also, are we going to decide where? Because we did Pear to Get the last time. Do we want to do that again, or do we want to try to do Tilden Park this time?
Yeah, I think in the calendar, in the agenda, sorry, I put that we need to decide which park, because I didn't want it to be everything on Partygate. I know that we have children's parks, other parks, so I also want to know which park do you want to implement this project. Are we still thinking about Partygate or any other park? If yes, I need to go and visit and see, if it's feasible there. But do you have any idea for other parks beside Partygate?
Linda Turner here. I agree with Bree. We could use 2 trees around the perimeter of Tilden. Excuse me, they were cut down for whatever reason, and it would be nice to have them replaced.
All right. So
Hi, this is Janique Williams. I just have a question. The tree planting would be where exactly on our blocks in the parks? Like how would we come up with a plan to like I'm sorry, I didn't hear who was speaking just before me, but uh I know that there are a lot of trees that have been knocked down from weather and storms, and also from people repaving in front of their house, and they purposely have the tree bed cemented. So how do we get maybe a copy of the blueprint of where the trees should be or have been, so that maybe we can try to replicate, a more green environment? Because I live on East 32nd between Tilden and Beverly, and growing up, this was a green block. Now we barely have trees. I think we have about maybe 4 trees on the block, and that's it. I personally tried to go around the block and get my neighbors to sign. At this point, I can care less. I'm just, you know better, you do better, because we see what's going on with the environment. We need greens, we need more trees, we need clean oxygen, we need clean water. So this is, I think, a step in the right movement, so that, we can all educate ourselves about, everything else, from the air we breathe to the food we put in our body. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I like the idea that you just mentioned regarding having a blueprint of, like a record where the trees were before, and so we can have an idea. That's a good idea too. As a side note, I answered to 2 emails, one for the Office of Assemblywoman Monique Water Schindlerman, because they want to work with me on an issue with trees collapsing in our neighborhood. So that's one. And I also replied to an email from a researcher on parks and seating areas that want to work with, our community. So I think those 2 things will also assist in our goal, in what you just said, Miss Williams, so we can know what is needed. But if I understand correctly, the project that was done before was tree inside of the park. So it's like 2 different things: trees in our neighborhood that need to be planted, and the project of having trees in our parks. So those are 2 things, 2 different things. So I think the first one was trees in our parks. And the second project I said that, people reach out to me was like trees in our neighborhood in general. So all of those things are also part of our community. So those are the 2
Yes,
things.
well, I agree with the trees in the park, because sometimes you can't even enjoy a breeze in the park because there's so much sun. But at the same time, when you go to other communities, you see where the funding is going, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So
So now, which part now? Because we also need to vote. It's almost 9, so we need to wrap up. But before we go, we should talk about which part we want to implement this project in. Are we still talking about project or other part before we close this meeting?
Okay, doctor. On the
I think Miss Williams was talking and someone else was talking at the same time. I don't know. Yeah. Um, someone wants to add something? Because we can always put that in the next agenda We don't have to vote for now. We can put the
Right.
vote for our next meeting, because today we cover
Yeah.
a lot. And
Yeah.
so if you do you agree for us to put the vote and continue this in our next meeting?
Please.
Yes.
Okay. So so we will put this on our agenda next at the next meeting, so we can discuss on where we want to implement this project, and anything that we didn't discuss now, we can discuss that at the next meeting. So do you all agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we start on time, and I always like to finish on time. Is there anybody who would like to say anything that is, like they can take after this meeting that they like to say, or that we will close. Anybody
Yeah.
want to say
I
something?
have one thing. This is Bree
Yes.
DaCosta again. I have one thing. I just wanted to know when we would be able to discuss the possibilities for the Tilden Park, like upgrade. That's something that we talked about with the committee last year, and I was just wondered if that's something that we can continue to have ongoing discussions about, so we're not left out of the budget when those, plans are made to spend money in the community, because the park is really outdated compared to some of the parks in the area. So I just wondered if we could continue those conversations.
So I put a special note for that. I will reach out to you by email so you can provide more info on that. So then I can move that to our next agenda as well.
Mm.
So
And,
I will definitely reach out to you, and then so I have a bigger picture of that, so I can put it in the next calendar, in the next agenda item.
yeah. And one, I just wanted to know that if we had News 12 on, I mean, if we had anybody reaching out to the media, because I certainly would like them to cover our tree lighting event. I've seen them do it
Not
before.
yet, not yet, but because I'm in the media too, you bring a great idea. That's a good thing that we should reach out to the media, and I can I you can work with me on that if you are free, so we can have a something together, so we can reach out to the media, like the
Yeah, and I
short.
think also it would be nice if we had a little, a tiny little committee to write, to just write a little article to send to like the local papers to let them know that we're back and we're doing and what we're doing, and that we'd like their support as well.
Okay, Miss Colin, I know that you can have,
We're doing that
new lifetime on that board. Thank you.
for sure.
Thank you so much. Miss Bennett is raising her hand to say
I'm going to
something.
say, don't forget about the bulbs. Would
Yeah.
anybody like to have some to plant in the yard or in front of the house or in the green space area? Well, this
I
is the month.
definitely would. Janique Williams would.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So do you want me to send out an email? Um,
Yes.
yeah, I see a lot of
Yes.
yeses. Okay. So I will
Yes.
send an email for that so people can follow up.
Hmm.
Any burning issues that people need to raise before I close this meeting?
Just one more comment. I'm sorry, this is Bree again. I
Yeah.
just wanted to just piggyback off of Carlene. She mentioned the communication going out to the community. I would just say, can we make sure it's also done via social media, since a lot of people use social
That's right.
media?
That's right.
Yes, and well, I have to report as well that I spoke to the chair of the communication committee, and she was waiting for our flyer to put on Community Board 17 website. So that's a good thing too. So I agree with you.
Right.
We have social media, Twitter, Facebook, all the social media, because I think that you saw the flyer already. If you didn't see it, check your email. Our flyer is beautiful, and you can share that with your community people. Thank you.
All
I
right.
have
Also, Courier Live covers that kind of thing.
I couldn't hear. Can you repeat, please?
Courier Life covers neighborhood activities.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good. Yes, yes.
I'd
Miss
like an
Colleen,
article in there.
I know I will work with Miss Colleen on the media outreach. I
Hmm.
already
Hmm.
know that she loves media outreach. So that I put a note for that. Yes. Thank you. So the only thing I will ask you, everything that we discussed today, when we come to our next meeting, we will move fast with a lot of those things that with a lot of great ideas. I don't
Sure.
want us to miss our ideas because we are moving fast. For the subcommittee members who spoke to me before, we will speak again before our next meeting because, as we mentioned it, we have letters to be printed. We have those little things to do before our general meeting. So I will definitely reach out to you. I will put my phone number in the chat. If you don't receive my email or any call, know that maybe I don't have your number correctly. Please reach out because we don't want our beautiful time and beautiful meeting to be wasted. We mentioned a lot of great ideas. We need to do them. Our goal is to make our community better, beautiful, and keep the work of the previous chair alive because bunch of things, were done before. We don't want to waste them. We want to move them forward. I have Mr. Tesman, and then after that, I will close this meeting.
Okay, and I'm sorry to be taking over the meeting, but I just, since I have additional information that you could use, I was, like, number one, the thing with just want to clarify, the planting in the park was plants, they were not trees, okay? There's another organization, and it's called Forest for All NYC, that's they do plant trees in schools and in the different areas in the city. Like so, they were the one that we were trying to work with. That all of a sudden stopped responding to the phone calls because they also teach forestry to the children, but they disappeared on us. Okay, and so I don't know if it's something we want to try again this year, because yes, we do need trees. And the other stuff that Ms. DaCosta mentioned regarding the Tilden Park, the renovation of Tilden Park, yes, this is something that we do need to work on, and not only because we had received some estimates for that, and I could share that with you, but we do need to have it requested in the general budget of the community was 17 again, which I did last year, but I didn't hear anything about that. And but in the subcommittee we could talk about it, not to extend this meeting any longer. But those two things I wanted to bring up, that maybe we need to contact Forest for All NYC regarding the trees in the community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ted. If there is nothing that people need to add, I know it's already 9:09. I will ask for a motion to close this meeting. Please let me know if there is nothing at all that needs to be said so I can ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Somebody second? Second. Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you all. You can wait for the minutes and the agenda for the next meeting, and please wait for me to contact you again. Thank you all.
Okay, who
Thank
Have a
you,
blessed
Sue, for
evening.
made the
that.
motion to adjourn the meeting?
The first was Colin Godden.
Arlene, yes.
And the second person?
I did. Linda Turner.
Okay,
Okay, have a blessed evening, everyone.
you
Thank
too.
you.
You too, George.
Good night, everyone.
It's a lovely
Mr.
Good
Ted,
night.
Mr. Ted, I will contact you directly, Mr. Ted. Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Lovely
Okay, good
meeting,
night.
Berlot.
Thank you, Miss Gordon.
Okay.
Good night.